Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, December the 13th, 2018. Good to have you all here for our second of two shows this week. My apologies for being on the air about a half hour late tonight. And we've been late before, so guys and girls out there should be used to it by now. But had some. It's been a kind of a stressful, rough day, rough week, really. But today, particularly, so some things were going on. So my apologies for that. That's what happens when you're not, not really getting paid to do this. So though hopefully in the future we will be. But not getting paid to do this, and you have life and responsibility pop up. So, but thank you for those that were patient and waiting for us tonight. And we do not have a long show tonight. It might even be shorter than last week. Maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. We just don't have a lot to do. So, and that's what happens when you kind of stockpile everything into Tuesday and we won't meet much for Thursday. So, but we got some things to do. So we'll, do the usual stuff, the box office beat, TV highlights. I don't even know why I put it in the description. I probably going to only bring up one show because I really haven't gotten to much TV this week. Again, it's been a rough, hectic week. So, but I'll mention one thing and then we'll move on. And to start the show, we'll talk about the film awards. We'll start that process here tonight. And then I'll have a couple other things speaking of awards, we have a couple other things at the end of the show, a couple topics, the Critics' Choice nominations, as well as the SAG nominations came out this week. So we'll talk about those and talk about where the award season stands so far, now that we know the Golden Globe nominations, the Critics' Choice, and the SAGs. What does this mean for the Oscars? Where are we at with the award season and whatnot? We'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about the Oscar host controversy in the wake of Kevin Hart stepping down from being the Oscar host. Where are they going with this right now? Where is it ultimately going to end? We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So not a lot tonight, not a lot to get through, but enough to fill a show, I guess. So with that being said, let us get going here by, as always, reminding you all the ways which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight401@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight401. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight401 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And as always, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page so you can interact with us and know what's going on with the show and all of that fun stuff. All right. Anyway, so again, not a lot to do tonight. We'll start off with the box office. Actually, no, we won't. We'll start off with the film awards. We'll start with the film awards and then go from there, because that's important information that you all are gonna want to know about. So, and again, just the same process we've done over the years. For those of you that do not know, the process starts tonight with the ballot request round. What is a ballot request? Well, a ballot request is just you emailing, and again, emailing, not Facebooking or tweeting, emailing the show, meaning me, about wanting to be involved with the awards. So you send an email to us. All it has to do is be labeled ballot request. You don't even have to put anything in text. Or if you feel so inclined, you can always put in there ballot request. Okay. Either way, you can put in the subject line. You can put in the text of the email, whatever the case may be. Well, at least put in the subject line of the email so that we know what it is. You simply send me an email requesting a ballot for the film awards. Within a few hours, you'll get a ballot. Okay. We give you about a week. We actually give you exactly a week to send your ballot request to us. After that, we don't allow any more requests to go out. We don't allow any more ballots to go out, so no more requests will be accepted. And then after that, it becomes a nomination round where we give you about, in this time, it's going to be about almost a month, where you can go, either by memory or by going back and watching movies from the past year or looking at clips, whatever you want to do. Our mantra from day one has always been to try to take this process as seriously as you can. I've said that since day one, whenever we've done this, either the film awards or the TV awards. I've always said that, please, folks, if you can, take it seriously. Yes, I know everybody has their favorites. I know bias is going to be a thing. But it's better, to me, and I think this has shown up in the nominations and the winners over the years. People have, for the most part, taken it seriously. It hasn't just been about picking their favorites or, just throwing whatever you want on the ballot. People have actually made an effort. So, for those that have done that, please continue to. And for those that haven't or never done this before, please do. Look at some clips, watch movies that maybe you haven't watched or maybe didn't even want to watch. We try to make this the whole basis for these film awards and these TV awards is to wipe the taste out of your mouth of those award shows that don't seem to award what people feel is the best. So this allows you to do that. So, I always encourage people to be as informed as they can. Watch as many movies as you can. Watch as many clips as you can. Do as much research as you can. Try to be informed when you vote and when you put your ballot together. So try to do that. Try to do that, and and then you vote. Not vote, but put your ballot together. So again, ballot request round starts tonight. You have a week to submit a ballot request to us by email, and then you have the nomination round, which takes about a month. And then once we cut that off, we have a group of people that has expanded over the years that does not vote in the awards. They have no horse in the race. They're completely unbiased. They are the ones that tabulate the results. They're the ones that tabulate the votes and give me the results. I don't know the results until the night I announce the nominations, and the same thing goes for the night of the winners. I don't know until we get them. I try to remove myself as much from the process as possible so that people don't think I in any way manipulate anything. So those results will be the nomination will be tabulated by that group. I'll get the nominations. We'll announce them, and then the winning round starts. And that usually will last. I mean, it varies, but for the most part, it's usually a couple weeks. And then we announce the winners and all that stuff. And then once we get to nomination night, on nomination night, meaning not the night we announce the nominations for the film awards, that same night we will announce categories for the live vote of the awards. These are awards that we vote on live during the night that we announce the winners of the film awards. So if by some chance you don't participate in the awards up to that point, you can always participate in those. Again, I can't stress this enough. If you're going to be involved with deciding the winners, okay, you have to start now. Please don't think you can bypass the nomination process and then join us halfway through the process and then help to decide the winners. No, if you're going to be involved, you have to be involved from the start. So from the nominations all the way through the winners, you cannot start halfway through. And again, if you're not a part of the process, you can still participate in the live vote of the awards. Not just deciding the nominees, but the winners as well. So please note that you can be involved through that way if you should not be involved from the beginning of the awards process. All right, so I hope that's all. I hope that's clear to those that have never done this before. Anybody that asks for a ballot, the ballot will have all the rules, all the important dates you need to know, and all this information on there. So you have this, but you can always ask me as well. You can email, Facebook, or tweet me questions about the awards anytime, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have and make things more clear. But keep in mind, any submissions, any ballot requests or submissions related to the awards can be done by email only. Please do not Facebook them or tweet them. They will not be accepted. Email only, please. So that's the first thing you got to remember about this whole thing. All right. So I don't want to go on and on about it. We used to go on and on about it, and it made for bad radio or bad podcasting. So I'll leave it at that because, again, all this information will be on the ballot should you want one. All right. So again, tonight the process starts with the ballot request round. You have from tonight until next Thursday, which is December the 20th. To request a ballot. You can request a ballot by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. Again, it's at itspotlight411@gmail.com. Just send an email labeled ballot request. You don't even have to put any text in it, but if you do, you can put text in saying, "Hey, I'd like a ballot." Okay, that's all you have to do. You can even do. I always say to people, do it during the show while you're listening right now or watching right now. That way, you don't forget about it. And then it's done. And then you'll have your ballot by morning. You can start working right away. All right. So the ballot request round, you can start asking for ballots right now. No requests will be accepted after next Thursday, December 20th at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So when the time we go on the air next Thursday, that's it. No more will be accepted. After that, anybody that requests a ballot will be ignored. So keep that in mind. All right, so that's the ballot request round. The nomination round. So you will have until Thursday, January 10th to submit your nomination ballots. Thursday, January 10th. So almost a full month. Okay. Reason why is because of the holidays and everything. I figure we need to give people more time. We're starting this process early just to give people more time, and for other reasons as well, but I won't get into them. So you have until Thursday, January 10th, the time we go on the air that night. That is the deadline for the nomination ballots. They are due that day. And then the nominations for this year's film awards will be announced on Thursday, January 17th. So the nominations for this year's film awards will be announced on Thursday, January 17th, 2019. It only takes us a week to tabulate the results. So, and then from that point on, it'll be the winning. It'll be about deciding the live vote of the award nominees, and it'll be about deciding the winners. And the deadline for that will be Thursday, January 31st. So Thursday, January 31st will be the deadline for the winning ballots, and also for the live award submissions, for nominations, live award nomination submissions, which we'll talk about later on in the process. And then the winners of this year's film awards will be announced on Thursday, February 7th. So the winners will be announced on Thursday, February 7th. Okay, so important dates: ballot requests due by next ballot request deadline next Thursday, December 20th, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Winning nomination ballots are due by Thursday, January 10th, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And then we'll announce the nominees on Thursday, January 17th. Winning ballot deadline is Thursday, January 31st. And the winners will be announced. The winners of this year's film awards will be announced on Thursday, February 7th, 2019. That's the process this year. That's the important dates. And again, all this information along with how we think you should not necessarily, again, you can vote the way you want, but we just make suggestions. We, want people to try to take it seriously. All this information will be on the ballot when you get it. So, but again, you can always ask me questions by email, Facebook, and Twitter, and I will be happy to answer them. So the Film Awards process has begun. We look forward to it. This is always fun. The Film and TV Awards are always a blast. We did them earlier last year too because of my wife having our daughter. We're doing it early this year because it just makes the most sense to do it timing wise. So yes, so the Film Awards process has begun. Get those ballot requests now. I've already seen a few come in. Get those ballot requests in now. The sooner the better. And again, you got till next Thursday, December the 20th at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time to submit a ballot request for this year's Film Awards. So the process has begun. Oh, and one more thing. All films from 2018 are eligible. So there might be some films that haven't come out yet. Okay, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse just came out. Bumblebee and Aquaman come out next week. Anything that's released from January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, even if it's in only limited release and it doesn't expand to 2019, anything released in any capacity from January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2018 is eligible. So please make note of that. That will also be on your ballot too, so you can remember that. That all films eligible in that time period are allowed to be submitted for the awards. All right, so the Film Awards process has begun. Very exciting. And from the Film Awards, we'll talk about the award season later, which the Film Awards is a response to, because we like to award the films that people think are either unrepresented or are the best that just don't get represented because of politics. And we won't get into it, but anyway, we'll talk more about the awards season later. But our Film Awards process now underway. Very exciting times. And from the Film Awards, we go to the box office beat report for this week, which there's not much to say. about this past week. It really was about the holdovers, which we suspected that it's the last kind of quiet week of the year. It was the worst box office really weekend of the year. Um, we knew Wreck-It Ralph would hold number one. It did 16.2 million, which was right in the range of what I expected. 36.4% drop off, not too bad. I thought The Grinch might hold up just as pretty well once again, which it did, only drop in 16% to 15 million. So that held at second. Creed 2 held at third with 9.9 million, a 40% drop off. Fantastic Beasts held strong at fourth with 6.9 million, a 38% drop off. And Bohemian Rhapsody held strong at fifth with 6.1 million, a 23% drop off. Other than that, the only other movie that was over 5 million with Instant Family was held on to its sixth spot with 5.7 million, a 19% drop. So all those movies held very strong, and they're and again, no new releases, no really expanding release. You had a re-release of Schindler's List, which had 566,000, but other than that, nothing really big, nothing important to talk about. So it was all about the holdovers, and it was one of the weaker box office weekends of the year, but not terrible. But you knew that. We knew that, and we knew that this would be kind of these past 2 weeks would be a transitional weekend, which always is for the box office and for the holiday box office. And now you move on. Things will start to pick up with this weekend. And, you know, it already picked up last night with the re-release of Deadpool 2, disguised as Once Upon a Deadpool, an action film from Fox, which is being released into 1,566 theaters. It made 910,346. And again, any of this will be added to Deadpool 2's gross. It is a re-release of Deadpool 2. It's a PG-13 re-release. It's just a way for them to test the audience, you know, and it's also a cash grab, which they're embracing. So, you know, I wouldn't expect a lot from this, maybe 2, 3, 4 million. I don't think it's going to make that much more. I thought it might make more, but Spider-Man looks like it's going to do very well this weekend. So I don't see it, but you know, it'll get an audience. It's not being shown enough theaters to really do huge, but you know, who knows? Stranger things have happened. So that came out last night. And this Friday, you have 3 new releases and 2 expanding releases. Let's talk about the expanding releases first. The big Vox La, a drama from Neon, is expanding into 325 theaters. Starring Natalie Portman, Jude Law, William Dafoe, and Jennifer Au. It's already made 155,000. It's R-rated. Not a lot of buzz. I mean, it's got a little bit of buzz, but not a whole lot. Again, we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. It won't do huge amounts of business, but it'll be there. And then you have The Favor, a drama from Fox Searchlight, expanding into 439 theaters. I'm sorry, R-rated drama, already made 4 million. Olivia Colman, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz star in this film, which is getting a lot of buzz. And a lot of people think this might be end up being the favorite for Best Picture. We'll see. So this one will be one to keep an eye on over the next few weeks here. And again, it might make, I don't know, like 1 million. It won't make a lot because of the theater count, but we'll keep an eye on that one over the next couple of weeks. Another movie that's gotten a lot of awards attention from Annapurna Pictures, If Beale Street Could Talk, a crime drama. It's going to be in 4 theaters this weekend. So it's directed and written by Barry Jenkins. It's gotten a lot of awards talk. R-rated crime drama starring Regina King, Dave Franco, Pedro Pascal, Diego Luna. Good cast. Keep an eye on that one as it expands. It's gotten a lot of buzz, and I think it'll do pretty good once it expands. So, all right. So those are the expanding releases and all the like awards season type buzz movies. The big movies now. The biggest release is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an animated film from Sony Columbia, opening in 3,813 theaters. PG, produced by Avi Arad, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller. A great voice cast. Only production budget of 90 million. It's getting a lot of good reviews. It's got a lot of hype. I expect a big performance by this movie. If you asked me a couple months ago if I thought this movie would break 20 million, I would have been shocked. I think now this movie might break 50 million. It's got a lot of momentum. I'm going with 50 to 60 million for this movie. It's going to help bring the box office back after the last 2 weeks. So I expect a big weekend from this movie and an easy #1 ranking. The second biggest release is a film called Mortal Engines, an action adventure film from Universal, opening in 3,103 theaters. Peter Jackson actually won a Razzie, but it's got really what is a relatively unknown cast. It's a $100 million budget, PG-13. Already made 19.6 million overseas. I don't expect it to make much here, honestly. If it makes 10, 11 million, it should be lucky. I don't see it making a lot. There's just not a lot of people talking about it. Wrong time of year, and these type of movies just don't do well, even at good times of year for them without competition. So, and then you have The Mule, a crime drama from Warner Brothers, opening in 2,588 theaters, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Clint Eastwood, Bradley Cooper, Michael Pena, Lawrence Fishburne, Diane Wiest, and Andy Garcia. It's R-rated. It has some buzz, but not as much as I thought it would have. It'll probably play much better to older audiences. I mean, I could see it making about 14, 15 million. I can't see it making much more than that. I just can't. So this weekend really belongs to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Again, I think a $50 to $60 million weekend is on tap for that movie. An easy #1. Maybe it could even make more than that. I don't think it'll make lower than that. So, and then after that, I think you'll see The Mule with around 13, 14, 15 million. I think Wreck-It Ralph and Grinch will drop a little bit because of Spider-Man taking all the theaters. So we'll say Mortal Engine's around 10, maybe 11. They can make under that, and if that's the case, then Wreck-It Ralph and Grinch move up. But I'll give it some credit. I think Wreck-It Ralph around 9, 9.5. The Grinch around 8. Once Upon a Deadpool, I'll go for around 6.5, 7. I think I'll make that much. It's got enough of a fan base, and I think people will be intrigued by it. With the extra footage and such. Creed around 6, 5.5, 6 million, and Fantastic Beasts and Bohemian Rhapsody will probably be right around 5 million, maybe a little under that. And everything else I think will be under 5 million for this weekend. So this weekend is gonna be all about Spider-Man. And that's gonna help make this weekend a success and help bring it back from the doldrums of the last couple weeks. So the box office, things turn around this weekend and begin to rebuild itself again. And then next week you have 4 new releases. Aquaman, Bumblebee, both which should be huge. Second act, a romantic comedy, and Welcome to Tomorrow, a drama. Then after that, you have, and also on Wednesday of next week, you have They Shall Not Grow, a documentary. They Shall Not Grow Old, a documentary. Mary Poppins Returns, which will be huge. So you got 3 big movies next week: Bumblebee, Aquaman, and Mary Poppins Returns. So that's wow. And the weekend after that, you got Holmes and Watson and Vice. So things are really going to pick up steam over these next 2 weeks, and then that will carry the box office into the new year. So the quiet period is over. Next couple weeks should be big, and then things will quiet down a little bit again as you get into January. So it should be a decent, actually more than that, it should be a good week at the box office thanks to Spider-Man, which, who knew that when this year closed, Spider-Man franchise, despite not having an actual live-action Spider-Man movie starring Spider-Man, would do so well. But Venom did well in October, and now Into the Spider-Verse looks like it's going to do very well as well. So good for Sony. They're finding ways to do things without necessarily having Spider-Man exclusively to them. So, all right. So that's this week's box office beat. Now, I meant description because I've been having trouble with this. I haven't been able to get to as many TV shows as I would like to get to. Just the way it is. Time's been an issue, and between watching sports and life and all these other things, it's kind of hard. So I don't have really any TV highlights other than the fact that I watched one show this week, and that was South Park, and I thought it was phenomenal. I thought last night's South Park, a lot of people have been very critical of the serialized nature of the show now, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it seems like they play with the continuity. They don't really do the whole. They do a season-long arc, but they don't not everything ties into it. They do standalone, but they just kind of tie it together at the end. For the first time since I think the PC Principal season, the finale of the season finale did the best job of tying everything together of any finale since they became serialized. It was a brilliant episode, had a good message, tied together everything from the season. You understood everything that they did and why. The hashtag cancel South Park thing was explained. Everything was explained. I was so satisfied by that episode. I got to give them props for it. I didn't think they could pull off, because I thought last week's episode was kind of bad. I didn't understand why they would choose to have a 2-parter with the content that they did. I didn't get where they were going. I get where they're going now. It makes sense. They cut based on the whole season as a whole. It works. It's a great thing that they did. It's a great arc, and I give them a lot of credit for tying it together last night and making some threads from the season that I didn't like the Randy Integrity Farms thing, which I didn't think was bad, but I didn't think it was worth what the focus they gave it. And then also, um, gosh, I'm blanking. I'm sorry. Even the e-scooter thing, which I thought was stupid, they worked into this episode. So I got to give them a lot of props. That was a really strong, well thought out episode that really brought things together. So good for them, and they answered every question and I would have had. So that would be my TV highlight of the week, South Park, and that's really all. I mean, I've been watching. My wife's been watching a lot of Christmas movies. Really haven't gotten too many TV shows. I've been watching a lot of football, obviously basketball, baseball winter meetings this week. So I haven't had a chance to watch any other shows. So I got a lot of stuff on my DVR to get to. I'm way behind on. So my apologies. I want to get to the DC crossover stuff and but yeah, I haven't gotten to as much stuff as I would like. Hopefully that changes in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully if Mike comes back on more regularly, we can get him to comment on some things too, because he obviously watches a little bit more variety in TV than I do. So if we get him back on, we can get him, he can contribute a lot to TV highlights as well. So, but right now, when it's just me, if I don't get to things, then you're out of luck. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So, but we just had one thing to mention. So I'm sorry, my TV highlights segments are scarce, but it is what it is. So that's it for TV highlights. Again, I said it would be short. I said it'd be one show, and it was. So, all right. So let's get to some other things here, so we can, because I don't. Again, I didn't anticipate this being a long show, and it's not going to be because we only got a few things left. The rest of the show is going to be about award season, the Oscars, and as I mentioned before, this earlier in the show, the SAG nominations and the Critics' Choice nominations came out, and Critics' Choice Award nominations came out first. And as you look at the nominations, nothing really stands out to you based on the Golden Globe nominations. Black Panther, Mary Poppins Returns, A Star Is Born, and Boys all did very, very well. All the same TV shows that were Assassination of Gianni Versace. What else? I can't think. I'm sorry. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, things like that did very well. And it's really, the focus isn't on the TV shows. I hate to say it. The focus is more on the film stuff, because there's a lot more interesting stuff going on there as far as the races go for the Oscars. The only difference in the Critics' Choice versus the Golden Globes is the favorite, which led the Critics' Choice Award nominations with 14, including Best Picture, Best Acting Sound, Best Director for Yorgos Lanthimos. So that puts the favorite. You take that. That puts the favorite in line for Oscar for being an Oscar frontrunner. Because at the Golden Globes, everybody's like, "Oh, wait a minute! There's no like traditional kind of film that the Oscars usually covet, like love having nominated and like to give a win to." Well, here it is. The Favorite's that movie. That's the movie that it seems like they could rally around and try to push. And the Critics' Choice Award is what put that film on the map. First Man was a movie that a lot of people pegged as being a favorite this year, and it did nothing at the Golden Globes, but here it does very well at the critics, even though it bombed at the box office. So that might put that back in contention for a potential Oscar nomination. And then you had the movies that did well at the Golden Globes, like I said, that did well at the Critics' Choice. Black Panther, Vice, which you got to consider Vice is a movie that's probably going to get nominated. Mary Poppins Returns could also be one. A Star Is Born could also be one, and Black Panther. So I think as it stands right now, we'll talk about that in a minute, but that's Critics' Choice. As far as the movies that are, when you look at Critics' Choice, those were the movies from the Golden Globes that did well and also did well there. And then you add The Favorite now after its big showing at the Critics' Choice Awards. You put that in the mix too now. Crazy Rich Asians did well at the Critics' Choice Awards, but I don't think it's strong enough to jump into any other big awards. So again, you see some of the same movies jump into the Critics' Choice Awards, and then you see The Favorite enter the fray. And the same directing choices also, involved, and you have to also have to wonder why Ryan Coogler is not getting any attention for Black Panther, even though the movie is. It's kind of weird to see that, but I digress. Um, but yeah, so you look at the Critics' Choice and then the acting nominees, which are stunning because when you looked at a lot of these are the same choices as the Golden Globes, but with a few additions. Um, in particular in supporting, where Michael B. Jordan broke through for Black Panther, which a lot of people thought he should have broke through at the Golden Globes. So you wonder if that puts him in the mix for maybe an Oscar nomination. Um, and some of the First Man cast, Claire Foy in particular, Ryan Gosling too. Does that put them in line for an Oscar nomination now that they showed up here? It could, because at the Golden Globes they didn't show up. So that's something that you have to keep in mind as well. So yeah. So when you take the Critics' Choice and then you add the SAGs, which also came out this week, and the SAGs were I think the best award show in terms of predicting the Oscars, not last year. Um, so keep that one in mind. And hang on a second. But the interesting thing about the SAGs was that there were some double nominees, including Emily Blunt. So let's take which sets up an interesting narrative, but we'll get to that in a second. The SAG Awards, which again are just strictly about acting. Hang on a second, I'm trying to bring these up. A Star Is Born led the film nomination with 4 nominations, including Best Actor for Cooper, Best Actress for Gaga, Supporting Actor for Sam Elliott, Black Klansman, The Favorite Falcon. You have to throw Black Klansman in the mix too because it's done very well across all the award circuit so far as well. And then the TV shows did well. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Ozark, again, all shows that did well at previous awards as well. So, but the focus on the film. I hate to keep disregarding TV, but the film race is where it's at right now, especially with the Oscar season coming upon us. So, but yeah. So when you look at the SAGs, you see a lot of the same actors nominated: Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Rami Malek, Viggo Mortensen, John David Washington. So I would think at this point those guys are your group. And the only other person I could see getting in is Ryan Gosling for First Man. So I think that's your group. I would think Christian Bale looks like a lock at this point. Bradley Cooper seems like a lock. Rami Malek seems like a lock. Viggo Mortensen seems like a lock. John David Washington, maybe he gets taken out for Ryan Gosling, but I don't think so. I think John David Washington's going to be the guy. So again, I think you have your 5 for actor right now, based on it's been pretty consistent throughout the award process, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, and now the SAGs. And then you got actress. Sorry about that. Hang on a second, folks.
My mom works for Chevy. My dad works for Chevy. We're all part of the Chevy family.
And right now, so are you.
Because our Chevy employee discount is now available to everyone.
The Chevy price you pay is what we pay,
and not a cent more.
Apologies, folks. That happened last week too. Every time I look at awards nominations, this stuff happens. It's kind of nuts. Let's see if I can find a list where there's no freaking ads to interrupt us. I apologize for that. Okay, here we go. This looks like a better page. Okay, in the female act and in the actress category, Emily Blunt, Mary Poppins, Glenn Close, Olivia Colman, Lady Gaga, Melissa McCarthy. Again, looks pretty consistent. You can maybe sub a few people out, but I think generally that's where we're going. Now we'll talk about Emily Blunt in just a moment. Outstanding supporting actress. You have Amy Adams for Vice, Emily Blunt for A Quiet Place, Margot Robbie, Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz. Now the question in this category should be this: I think everybody's a lock, but Emily Blunt. Will they give Emily Blunt 2 nominations at the Oscars? I think she'll get 1. Will it be an actress or will it be a supporting actress? I don't think they'll give her 2. If they do, then, you know, that's going to be something huge, but that's going to be a storyline to watch. And it's been this is the first time Emily Blunt's been nominated for anything other than Mary Poppins so far this award season in significant form anyway, you know, as far as significant awards. So we'll see. We'll see. But right now, I would say she won't get nominated for A Quiet Place, even though she was brilliant in that movie. She'll get nominated for Mary Poppins, so that seems like, again, it's more recent. And that seems like the, you know, kind of like the you know, the role that she's going to most recognize for. Now, supporting actor, we got Mahershala Ali, Timothée Chalamet, Adam Driver, Sam Elliott, Richard E. Grant. That looks pretty stable as well. You know, maybe Richard Grant gets knocked out for Michael B. Jordan, which could happen because he was nominated at the Critics' Choice. We'll see. But that generally looks like, so again, a lot of these actor races seem set at this point. And then you got outstanding ensemble in a film, outstanding performance by a cast. A Star Is Born, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Crazy Rich Asians. Now, Crazy Rich Asians, I do not expect to be nominated at the Oscars. That'd be a shock if it was. But it looks like, you know, based on, you take this, the Critics' Choice, and the Golden Globes. Bohemian Rhapsody looks like a good bet. Black Klansman looks like a good bet. Black Panther looks like a good bet. And A Star Is Born looks like a good bet. And then you maybe add The Favorite because it did well at the Critics' Choice. So we got what? The Favorite, A Star Is Born, Black Panther, Black Klansman, Bohemian Rhapsody. That's 5. That's 5 movies. Now, does anything else show up in there? Well, you could say Mary Poppins Returns is another choice you could put in there. Green Book is another choice. Vice. I could see, I'm going to say this. I think you'll see Vice, because I usually like to throw like a comedy type movie in there. I don't know if they'll put both the Green Book and Mary Poppins Returns in there. It depends if they want to go more popular fare or not. If they do, then they'll put Mary Poppins in there. If they don't, they'll put Green Book in there. So it'll be that. But those are the only movies I can see at this point making it. Now, as far as Best Picture goes. So, all right. So I know that was a lot, and I kind of just regurgitated all the nominees and all that other stuff. So what does this mean? Where are we at here? And again, you can look at the nominees for the Critics' Choice Award and the SAGs for both TV and film. I know I skirted TV, but for me, the more interesting portion of this is film. This always is because of the Oscars. So where are we stand with these awards races? Again, I think most of the acting, I already went through the acting races, all looks pretty set. We'll see if Emily Blunt can get 2 nominations. I think Emma Stone's up twice too, but I don't think that's going to factor into the Oscars anyway. I think Emily Blunt's the one that has 2 roles you can potentially get nominated for. So I think the acting races are pretty set. I think, you know, a lot of the other awards are pretty set. This is Best Picture. I think at this point we can say The Favorite will probably get nominated because they want one of those kind of movies up. I think you'll get Black Klansman in. I think you'll get A Star Is Born in. I'd like to think they'll get Black Panther because otherwise people are, based on how it's done this award season, it would look really bad if it didn't. So that's 4. You know, Mary Poppins maybe jumps in. Green Book maybe jumps in. Yeah, I mean, I think you have your movies that are in play. And you'll get 6 or so of those movies in, and that will be your group. And we'll see what The Favorite is. No pun intended. I think right now, you know, seeing The Favorite pop up on the Critics' Choice radar and do so well made me think that when it comes down to it, that's the movie that Oscar voters will rally around and push in and could end up being The Favorite. If that movie doesn't get nominated, then I don't know what The Favorite is going to be. Maybe they will go for a more popular type movie. Maybe they will. Or they'll cling to something like Black Klansman, which is kind of a merging of both because it did play out to more audiences, but it's also kind of a smaller budget type release. So we'll have to see which way this goes. To me, the key to this whole race is this. if the favorite gets nominated, I get the feeling the favorite will be that movie that all the traditional Oscar voters push, and that'll be that movie that wins because it's always the movie that the Oscar voters like to push that a lot of people haven't seen, and everybody's like, well, what the heck is that compared to some of the other movies, like A Star Is Born, like Black Panther, like Mary Poppins Returns, even like BlacKkKlansman. I guess they could write around the Green Book, but I don't think that's a strong enough candidate. So, again, I think if the favorite gets nominated, that ends up being the favorite. And if it doesn't, then it's a wide open race. I mean, it could end up being a little bit wide open even with the favorite nominated, but I tend to think that's the movie they'd go with because I still don't know if they're ready to award a movie like a Black Panther or like a Mary Poppins. This ain't, they would have back in the day, but I think they've gotten so far away from that. But then again, maybe they do what the Golden Globes doing, and they start thinking more about the fact instead of about what they think is a worthy piece of art or cinematic art. They start thinking about what's going to get their show more awareness and more ratings. And then if that's the case, I think the Golden Globes do that. If that's the case, then they'll nominate more popular movies, and they'll go with something like A Star Is Born, like Black Panther, like Mary Poppins Returns, because those are movies that more people have seen. And it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't just vote on something because more people have seen it, but that might be the way that they go, just to kind of bring some attention back to the Oscars. Because the Golden Globes and some of these other awards are not having the problems that the Oscars is having. Even the Emmys, really. These other Golden Globes are doing great. That's because it feels like a party and it feels fun, and a lot of things that are popular end up winning. Again, I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it does bring attention to it. It does. So we'll see. It's definitely turning into an interesting award season because for the first time in a long, long, long time, I think there's a potential that you see a movie win that either did huge business at the box office or is popular enough that when it wins, people are going to say, hey, I saw that. And that hasn't happened in a while. I mean, I'm sure with a lot of winners, people say I saw that, but not like a wide swath of the audience. I think there's a potential for something to win this year that a wide amount of the audience saw. And that's unique for this era at the Oscars. So it should be interesting to see as this award season continues. It's the trajectory that we're on. That is possible, and we'll see what does well and what wins as we go through this process here in January, and all these awards shows happen. As we approach the Oscars, we'll start to see which movies have momentum, and that might give us an idea of what we're looking at. So award season definitely very interesting so far, and a big part of why it's been interesting is because of the whole Oscar host debate. You've heard the stories. Nobody wanted to host this show, and they go get Kevin Hart, who had to, working in the schedule, and then the whole Kevin Hart controversy happens, and now he's not hosting the show. And over this last week, you've had a lot of criticism. You've had a lot of people say maybe don't even do a host. You've heard a lot of choices mentioned. You've heard people throwing themselves out there to volunteer, like Whoopi Goldberg, or volunteering other people like Ken Jeong to host. So there's a lot of stuff out there. What are they going to ultimately do? My feeling is this, okay? Whenever you see these situations happen, and I'm going to bring up the Super Bowl after the Janet Jackson thing. Okay, I know it's not really equivalent, but I'm just saying this. That was a whole controversial thing. And what did the Super Bowl do for the next few years? They veered away from certain artists. They veered away from risque. They went with safe choices, right? I think that's what the Oscars are going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to somebody that's somebody that they've used before that they think of as safe. Now, they also want to be younger, and they also want to try to draw a rating. So I don't know if they go back into the past and pull a Whoopi Goldberg, who a paracord of Whoopi, they wouldn't want her anyway, so probably wouldn't do her. But I don't think they go back and get somebody that's a well-renowned legendary Oscar host like Billy Crystal. They might not think that's relevant enough. Maybe they go with somebody like Hugh Jackman, who's a big name right now. To me, that would be the perfect guy where he's safe. He ain't going to insult anybody. He's not going to be considered insensitive. He's well liked. He's big right now because the Greatest Showman is one-man tour and everything. Hugh Jackman might be the perfect guy. He can sing, he can dance, he can do it. That might be the kind of guy they go get. Somebody that's hosted before and that, you know, is not going to cause a problem. I think that's the kind of person you're looking at. And he's relevant enough with the younger audience that you're not losing anything there. So my feeling is that might be a candidate they go up, and that's somebody that the kind of person they might go to. So we'll see what happens there. But I think that's generally what they'll do. I don't think they'll go without a host because it's too chaotic. You need somebody to kind of, you know, keep the show going. And, you know, a part of me thinks they won't go with a comedian because they'll be too afraid. So when you think about that, I think they'll go with, like, somebody like Hugh Jackman will be great. There's some people that think they should go for a woman, which would be, you know, they've had women hosts before. It's not like they haven't. They've had Ellen DeGeneres. They have, I mean, it's not like they haven't had women. So it's not like there'd be anything earth-shattering about it. I just don't know who they go to. Unless they did go to somebody like Ellen, who, again, would be a safe choice. So, but I do think that's what they'll do. They'll go with a safe choice, and it probably, you know, I'm thinking it won't be a comedian. That's just my thinking. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Pardon me. Wait, I'm sorry. But it is a shame that this whole controversy is kind of taken over award season. So I kind of wish that they just come out and announce a host so we can discuss it and move on. I really do, because it should be about the work and the races, and not awards races, and not about who's hosting the damn show in 2 months. It's a shame, and this is one of the reasons why I think they should announce a host very early on, before we even get into the heat of award season. Doing it right now, I think this takes too much attention. But then again, usually you just announce the name and go on with your lives. It's usually not a controversy, but you know, it is this year, so we'll see how it turns out. I'd like to think they'd like to find a resolution before Christmas, so that it doesn't play out through that. And I think they will. I think over the next week you'll hear a name, and that'll be it. So, yeah. So yeah, that's all the topics I wanted to get to. I said this would be about out. I thought it might be even shorter than that, but I figured, you know, at the beginning of it, on Tuesday, I think I said to you, I figured it'd be an hour show, and then when I was drawing everything up, I thought it might be only a half hour, but it ends up being about an hour. So that's good, because I like to always give at least an hour. So, and I know it wasn't an easy show to follow. I kind of threw a lot of things out, especially with the award stuff. But award season stuff where I kind of went through different nominations and different things. It was kind of, you know, bouncing around a little bit, but did the best I could, and it's late. It's been a long day. You know, sometimes I tell people off the air, because I talked a lot about our fans off the air. You know, when you do a show at night like this, at 10 o'clock at night, okay, after a long day, and even if you haven't had a long day, even if you do a show in the middle of the day, sometimes everything is just jumbo in your head. You have your notes, you have everything, and you're trying to deliver everything, and you're trying to go through everything. And, you know, you get into a topic, and then all of a sudden you go in 4 or 5 different directions. And then especially if you do a show at like 10 o'clock at night, and you're running late anyway, and you've had a long day and everything, it does get jumbled too. So, you know, we have our good days, we have our bad days. There's some shows I get out there, I'm like, wow, we did great. Like this last 2 Tuesday shows, I think we did great. And there's shows like tonight, I know I'm gonna get off and be like, wow, you know, I was kind of all over the place. This wasn't the best, whatever. You have good shows, you have bad shows. You just do your best and you try to, you just try to do the best you can, and that's kind of what it is. And try to do better next time. So, I already know I'm gonna get off the airtime and be like, oh, there's a million things I wish I could redo. And that's what happens when it's not recorded. You can't redo it. It is recorded. It'll be in archive later. But like when you do it live broadcasting, you can't redo it. It's out there. So, that's the risk you take. So sometimes things are going to be good, and sometimes things are going to be bad. So, but you know what? I powered through. We got what we had to get done. So with that in mind, that is it for tonight. As always, the show might be over. Does that mean you have to stop interacting, contributing to our show, continue to have your voice heard, send us your questions, comments, opinions, reactions on things we said on the show, things we talked about, topic ideas of breaking news, items related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Questions about the show, the scheduling of the show, about the film awards, ballot requests for the film awards. Again, you can only do those by email only. Anything to do with the film awards by email only, but everything else you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember, hashtag itspotlight411 is the hashtag you want to use when tweeting our show in any way, shape, or form. And on Facebook, just search In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page, if you will. Again, follow us on social media on Facebook at In the Spotlight 411. Just search for that show title and you'll find us on Facebook, and on Twitter at IT Spotlight 411. And make sure to use the hashtag IT Spotlight 411 so that you can tweet at us and we can see it and promote the show and all that good stuff. So make sure you follow us on social media, get the latest information about the show, any scheduling changes, any other information. We'll talk about anything else we talk about, and there you have access to it. So make sure you follow us on social media so you can have access to all that and more. To keep up with the show, there are two ways in which to do that. You can either stream us anytime here on YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 411. You'll be taken to our YouTube page where you'll find every episode ever produced for YouTube and Google Plus, which is no longer a thing. But from way back in October 2015, when Google Plus was still a thing with YouTube, we have all episodes from mid-October 2015 all up to tonight's current episode. They're all available for you to stream anytime on our YouTube page. Just search In the Spotlight 411 on YouTube, and you'll be able to do all that and more. If streaming is not your thing, maybe prefer to listen to our show or listen to us on the go rather than see us on screen. Maybe you're interested in older episodes of the show. If any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, to search In the Spotlight 411. And when you do, you'll be taken to our show page on both sites where you'll find every episode ever done in the 8 years we've been doing the show. So every episode from our original Blog Talk Radio run from October 2010 to January 2011, all of our episodes from our Talk Shoe run from January 2011 all up to mid-October 2015, and all of our episodes from our Google Plus and YouTube run from October 2015, all up to tonight's current episode. Every episode we've ever done in audio format for your convenience, all organized from the most recent episode, that being tonight, all the way to the oldest, way back in October 2010. Every episode available for you to listen to anytime you want. They're all available to you on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search In the Spotlight 411. So again, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, your ways to give it the show and look back at class gives. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Shout out to my co-host Mike, not here tonight. He was here on Tuesday. It was great to have him on. He'll be back probably with us on Tuesday, so wish him well. Hope everything's going well for him. Thank myself for another great show. Pat myself on the back. And again, I don't think it was a great show. I already explained this, but did the best I could. I hope you got something out of it. I just got to get some sleep. It's been a rough day. I very rarely admit to that on the air, but this is one of those days you just want to kind of forget about. But anyway, so yeah, thank you to all of you for all that you do, for your patience. Thank you for your patience with us being late tonight. Thank you for all that you do for listening and watching. And to those that will be listening and watching, to those that will be listening or watching this later, thank you to you as well. See, look, I'm stuttering. Look at this. It's a mess. Weekend really needs to get here, so I'm glad tomorrow's Friday. But thank you to all of you for listening and for watching, whether it's an archive or live. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much for sticking with us on the rough nights like tonight, and even and through good times and bad. We really do appreciate it. That is it for this week. Again, ballot requests. You have a week, so send them in by email at itspotlight411@gmail.com. email us. You'll get a bat. Once you send your request, you'll get a ballot within a few hours. So you got till next Thursday, December the 20th at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time to submit your ballot request. So make sure that you all do that. Next week, we have 2 shows. Tuesday, sports and wrestling. We'll talk NFL. We'll look back at the previous weekend, look ahead to the next weekend. We'll begin our bowl preview, college football bowl preview. We'll have our college basketball preview. So there'll be a lot on that show. We'll talk about the fallout from WWE TLC and WWE's Raw and SmackDown shows and any other wrestling news we have to cover. All that on Tuesday's show. So that'll be a jam-packed show, so make sure you tune in. And then next Thursday, entertainment, box office beat, TV highlights, any other entertainment stuff we have to cover. And remember, ballot requests due next Thursday. So 2 shows next week. That will be our last week of 2 shows for 2018. The 2 weeks after that, the last week of 2018, we'll only have 1 show on Thursday. And then the first week of 2019, we'll only have 1 show again on Thursday. So that's what's coming up in the next few weeks. The Film Awards process has begun. We have a busy week next week and then the holidays, and that'll be it for the year. So, all right. So I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great weekend, and a great start to your week next week. We'll see you back here Tuesday night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. This is coming Tuesday night, December 18th at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time here on YouTube. Until then, have a great night, everybody.